Hello, my name is Erin Moore. Today, my audience members are going to include my brother-in-law and my husband. Here they are. And the title of my speech today is What to Know About Earth-Sheltered Homes. What if there were a house that were not only environmentally conscious, but also more energy efficient than a traditional home? What if this house could also help promote healthier living, all while letting you live more harmoniously with the environment around you? The good news is that there are plenty of designs out there for homes just like that, not to mention they are beautiful inside and out, and with costs that are comparable to modern above-ground homes. According to many relevant agencies and governments across the world, including America and Australia, earth-sheltered homes are the epitome of eco-friendly dwelling and almost zero energy too. Earth-sheltered homes may seem outlandish at first, eliciting pictures of the Shire or some other fantasy abode, but they are so much more than that. The basic concept of earth-sheltered homes is not a new idea by any means. Many of the first humans lived in caves surrounded by the protection of the earth. Throughout generations, cultures, and across the globe, a variety of different yet similar dwellings have been utilized. An article on the website Atlas Obscura that discusses earth-sheltered homes states that cave dwelling can be dated back in China to the 2nd millennium BC, and as recently as 2012, more than 30 million modern Chinese still live underground, as reported by the Los Angeles Times. Native Americans used earth shelter technology to build and insulate some of their permanent buildings. And in the 1880s, sod houses were prevalent across the prairies of North America as settlers moved west. This was popularized by Laura Ingalls Wilder in her acclaimed Little House series. Today, earth-sheltered is defined as built partly or mostly underground in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. This means that earth-sheltered can be built into the ground, or it can be built as to be covered on at least two sides, creating a mound. This technique is referred to as earth-burned. These types of structures have been improved upon for centuries and can incorporate many attributes of green living, such as energy efficiency and self-sufficiency. There are many design features that usually mark an earth-sheltered home. Usually built into a slope, orientation dependent on the climate. Colder climates should face south, where warmer climates should face north. Green roofs are used in most earth-sheltered homes. This provides help with insulation and waterproofing. This layer includes a filter fabric, waterproofing membrane, and a root barrier so that your ceiling and roof is kept intact. Part of these homes use passive solar energy for heating and cooling. Thermal mass heating relies on the fact that the ground stays between 40 and 70 degrees year-long in most climates, says Atlas Obscura. Thermal mass is the ability of a material to absorb and store heat energy, is how the government of Australia defines thermal mass in its guide to environmentally sustainable homes. It goes on to inform that the appropriate use of thermal mass throughout your home can make a big difference in comfort and heating and cooling bills. Passive solar energy homes are easily distinguished by one mostly windowed wall orientated specifically to the site, maximizing the sun in the winter and having an overhang to minimize the summer sun. This balances the temperature more effectively. These windows often have shades and blinds built into them. Some are even made to tilt and open to ventilate. To diffuse some of the sun and heat, the greenhouse area is planned between the wall of windows and the main living area. According to the Department of Energy for the United States government, the windows and glass doors on the exposed walls provide light, solar heat, outside views, and access to the ground level. Another feature of passive solar design of earthen houses use the thermal chimneys, which employ convective currents to draw hot air out of the building, in turn pulling cool air in. There would be a system of vents placed at the top and bottoms of walls, and in the summertime, for example, you would open both sets of vents at night to pull air through the building using air convection. The vent system would also employ the slope at which the building was built to displace hot air as it rises through the structure. Collecting rainwater in subterranean cisterns is a way to provide a hot water source and another layer of insulation in earth-sheltered homes. These are placed near the surface on the back side of the structure where they can be heated by the sun's rays. In some designs, gray water recycling systems are utilized to take sink water and other non-waste waters and reuse them in the greenhouse areas. If you want to be even more environmentally sound, you can even use compost toilets in your designs. An important thing to consider is the design of the walls that would be covered in earth. Consider things like water leaks and structural integrity under the weight of so much soil and fauna. Many different materials can be used to insulate and waterproof and for structural integrity. Today, the most commonly used materials are concrete, stone, wood, and even plastic bottles and dirt-packed tires can be used to build earth-bermed homes. The DOE lists one advantage of the earth-sheltered homes is the ability to blend the building into the landscape more harmoniously than a conventional home. There are many other advantages, such as resistance to natural disasters like earthquakes, tornadoes, and high winds, and depending on the materials used for construction, fire resistance. Earth-sheltered homes can use 40 to 80% less energy compared to above-ground structures, according to Earth and Shelter Efficiency articles. When done with the right knowledge and materials, they can be economically responsible long-term. Since you can use cheaper alternative materials in the build and will not need much exterior maintenance, long-term costs are typically lower than with traditional homes. They are also sometimes cheaper to insure, according to the Department of Energy. There are many prototypes and sources about earth-sheltered homes to be researched. You can even find some businesses that specify in these homes and can either help or can be hired to completion. However, as with most things, there are disadvantages to take into account. One of the major disadvantages is the amount of land needed, and not only the amount of land, but the specific kind of land, because even before the land can be bought, soil and elevation must be inspected to avoid adverse issues such as flooding, erosion, and moisture problems. Another disadvantage to consider are the need for special permits and special contractors, as not all contractors are familiar or licensed to do these kind of builds. Also, not all areas will permit homes like this, so you'll need to check up all the laws in the areas that you would want to build. Another downside are the very specific building designs that must be individualized by a competent contractor. As I said earlier, there are businesses that are very reputable. However, there are also those who claim to know what they are doing and don't. If you skip on vetting a business or a contractor, you risk your bigger problems later with settling and moisture leaks. Sadly, it would most likely be way too late when you realize that you had been hoodwinked and left with a shoddy design with cracks or leaks. Building an earth-sheltered home can cost less than traditional homes if you opt to build it yourself, especially if you're using recycled materials. However, due to the many site-specific features, as well as the need for heavy equipment to move the soil of construction before construction can begin, or even if you're berming your house by covering it with dirt on more than two sides, even then you'll still need a backhoe to be able to move that dirt. Coupled with the upfront costs, these may be the reasons some are reluctant to even consider an earth-sheltered home, even though they may be the house of the future. Earth-sheltered homes have advantages and disadvantages, ranging from being very eco-friendly to being more hassle to construct. These homes can also be built many different ways and have many different design features, from passive solar heating and cooling with indoor greenhouses to collecting and heating rainwater. In conclusion, the notion of living in the earth and being one with it have been around since the dawn of time. With modern earth shelter technology, it has never been attainably more efficient.